Hello.
Hey man, there's no way this is happening.
Hey, this is really happening.
This is actually a thing, yeah. How are you?
Good, man. Oh my God, this is great. Thank you so much for your patience. What a what a crazy couple of months we've had trying to make this happen.
It's been like what, 6 months maybe?
Yeah, dude. I don't know. I think when did you come to Toronto? That was the end of last year.
That would have been man, November, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. Because I think I reached out in December, and I was like, "Hey, I would love to have a chat to you about failure." What did you think when I reached out? Was it do you get a lot of this kind of thing, or was it weird for you?
No, it's not weird. I don't know about a lot. You mean like a lot of Skype things per
Yeah,
se?
yeah, man. No, not so much the Skype thing, but just
No, I mean people reach out every once in a while just to I don't know, interview for I don't know, random things, man. You
yeah.
know, so it happens enough that I'm like, yeah, I'm always up to do it. If there is if I can, I'm never like, no, I don't know you, go to hell. This. I think like you look familiar. I believe I remember meeting you that night.
Yeah.
The night there,
Afterwards,
yeah.
I was with my girlfriend. It was probably one of the first times we'd gone out in Toronto because the accent, like I'm from Australia, and then I moved here for the little lady, and then yeah, we just live around the corner from the comedy club, and so we'd been a couple of times, but it was just. I just laughed so much that time. I think I just came up afterwards and I was like, "Hey man, like that was awesome." But it was there was a lot of stuff happening in the foyer, so I was like, "Oh, I'll give it a little bit, and then I'll reach out." And I just thought you'd be perfect for this series. And I've talked to a couple of comedians so far, and I started
You
out.
don't mind me asking who did you talk to?
Yeah, two Australian comedians. That's what's up so far. Will Anderson, if you've heard of that guy, he's trying to make it now in America, but he's huge.
Okay.
Like he's selling out. It
One
was
I really know is Sam Simmons.
Sam Simmons. He would be unreal to talk to. He's the man.
Yeah, Bread Shoes. I saw him a few years ago at Just for Laughs. He was a really nice guy.
Yeah. Well, I think he's trying to do the American thing now.
Yeah.
He is that weird like alternative comedy, and it's funny. I talked to Steph Brocci. She was the first episode, and we talked about Sam Simmons because she writes a lot, and then she manages like alternative artists like that, and she
Okay.
has a lot of clowns like on her roster. So we were talking about that like with Sam, for instance. If you've seen his show, we're like, how do you advertise that to people? You know, it's like. It's kind of like this. It's kind of like this. It's a little that. It's a bit weird. You know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah.
so that was we chatted about in that episode of like how to how the hell do you like, and do you want to even put a label on that type of like experimental comedy and stuff
Yeah.
like that? And
Yeah, I guess it's weird because to say if it was that Edinburgh Festival or whatever, it would need something to sell it to say people that wouldn't know who he is. But yeah, that's a tough one. It'd be so hard to do. There's a guy in Toronto named Terry Clement who does sort of the something similar type things, like things
Yeah.
that are way far out there. And he went to Edinburgh, and he did not have a real good description for his show, and nobody went
right.
because you have to. Even though he was like, it's everything. It has this, and people were just like, well, if it has everything, it has nothing. If that makes sense.
Totally, and that's what we talked about. It's like people want to know what like a little bit about it before they're going in. They want to know that they're going to like it, and it's a risk because it's a risk to take to spend money on something that you don't know. And we were talking about that. It's not just a risk for the performer to put on the show; it's a risk for the audience to go along and see something, especially in the fringe shows and stuff like that. Like, who
Yeah.
knows what you're gonna get? So
Yeah.
we were talking about how the audience can be like a little risky as well. How do you go? Like, how do you advertise yourself? Because you're not you're not like definitely not a run of the mill comedian either. You are
I
a
talk,
bag full of tricks.
Yeah, I talk fast. Me and another guy in New York were thinking about it. I and him and a few other people were like, when I really look at it, we're like there's a handful of white comedians who talk fast and loud, and I'm one of those guys. Because a lot of the other guys, and it's not to say that it's anything wrong, but it's a lot of, like really set up punch, stand behind a mic, be a quiet sort of like, like Todd Barry.
Yeah.
It's a lot of that, and I'm not that. I don't know, man. It's one of those things. I don't know if Sam Simmons would feel this, or a lot of comedians do. It's very hard for us to talk about what it is that we even have. Do you know what I mean? I don't know I don't know how the hell I would sell it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's I don't know. I rant about things long periods of time, and then I leave.
Right, and that's a pretty hard sell on the street. Be like, hey, do you want to come along and hear me rant? And you're like,
yeah.
Is it funny? Like, yeah, it's funny. It's really funny.
Yeah, and it's really not even that angry. It's like I rant, but it's not like a. I think when people hear rant, they think it's gonna be the angriest thing in the world.
No.
But I'm like a pretty happy dude. I smile. Try to be like a happy ranter, if that makes sense.
I love the rant. It was there was so many bits. I don't want to give away your show, but what really I don't know, hit close to home was you were talking about working at Starbucks and how you get to a point, and you can do it in any job. It's you get to a point where it's like just quit. You said that you wanted to. I don't want to give away your bit, but it's like
give it away, man.
You get to the point where you physically want to harm someone because the customer is such an idiot.
I talked about it wasn't even that customers were idiots. I just get you just work at a place so long that you just start to hate it. And the vision I used to have at Starbucks, and this is why I quit. I used to think about the coffee urn. When you go to pour coffee, there's a little lever.
Yeah.
And I used to think about taking the lever, locking it, and then throwing the coffee urn into the mug wall and just watching hot coffee rain on customers before it hit the wall. And I thought, I really got to get out of here.
Yeah.
If those are the thoughts I'm having.
And have you felt like that with any other job? Do you think that's part of? Yeah.
I used to work at a call center, and man, I used to think about. I mean, if you ever worked at a call center, it's probably the worst job you'll ever have in your life.
Yeah.
I walked out of that job. Oh, I used to push carts. Any job where I wasn't really, able to kind of talk to people.
Yeah.
I wanted to murder people and leave.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. I haven't worked at call center, but a lot of my friends have. But I've worked plenty of crimey jobs, like factory jobs and stuff, where it's just like you just somewhere deep in the 6-hour mark of a shift, you just start thinking what would happen if I, and then it's fill in with whatever murderous rampage that you want to go on.
Ages, yeah.
But I think the cool thing that you pointed out and that you did was just quit and you how do you feel about that, and maybe does that go into comedy somewhere with being able to kill your babies and you know what I mean, like that with when you say kill your babies, you mean jokes, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Just because if it's something works, but you're not cool with the not kill literal babies.
Yeah, not kill actual babies. You mean how would I just in
a sense of if you get a bad feeling about something and you don't like doing it, do you still sort of hold on to that? Because I felt like when you're going on the rant about just quit, you were telling people just quit. Do you think that a lot of people are too scared to do that, and they don't want to take that risk?
Yeah, I mean, before I quit my last job, I used to work at Adidas in Toronto at Yonge and Dundas, and I worked there for almost 2 years, and I quit to really just do comedy, and now I haven't had a day job since that one. But that was horrifying. I was absolutely terrified. I was making a little bit of money at stand-up, but I didn't know what I was going to do. So I just quit, and I don't know, it sort of worked itself out.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I feel that, yes, of course, people are going to be very horrified to quit, because I don't know, I didn't think that anything else would really come along,
Yeah.
And I feel that I don't know, I think people just have jobs, and they're like, well, this job sucks, my other job will probably suck, I'll just stay here for the next 45 years and then retire.
Yeah.
But yeah, just quit. But it was very scary. It was super scary to quit. Other comedians were the ones that sort of pushed me to do it. Like people that were ahead of me at that time, who only made a living at stand up. They were like, "Hey man, just quit. I don't know, things will just come along." And I don't know, they did. It's weird.
Yeah, I kind of feel like because I've got the two jobs. There's like one on the video side which I really want to pursue, but it's not enough just to let go of this, like the other day job that
Yeah.
I'm working at the bar at the moment, and so I keep on cutting down the the day job essentially, but it's that last little lifeline to any ounce of security. It's like, well, at least I know that I'll go and I'll get the certain amount of money. Like, even though I hate it, and like I hate dealing with drunk people, and I feel like I'm done. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's so hard just to be like, we'll snap, and it's like, well, what if something doesn't come along to fill that void? Then I've got a void, you know. But
Hmm.
yeah, that's where I am at, and but that I feel like that me personally, I'm a lot better, and by talking about like, you know, like leaning into the fear and stuff like that
Yeah, man, it's very hard to do. But the way somebody sort of explained it to me was that there's nothing will be able to fill that void if there is no void.
yep.
So it's. I mean, dude, when I quit my last day job, I would tell my girlfriend, I'm like, that's it. I'm gonna be homeless. I'm gonna live on the street. This isn't working out. You know what I mean? Like, because I wasn't headlining clubs at the time. I wasn't doing as much TV stuff as I am now. So yeah, I was like, that's it. I'm over. And she would just, you know, be like, you're an idiot. Things are gonna be fine. And you know, and I mean, just relying on, say, the arts, I guess, at this level, you know, sometimes it's really, really great, and then other times it's like contract work. You know, there'll be like 1 month that's amazing, and then the next month is sort of not amazing. But I don't know. I don't have the day job, so I'm you know, doing all right.
So awesome. Well, I'm really happy to hear that, my man. Do you still feel sometimes? Do you suffer from like imposter syndrome? You like, any one of these days, like someone's going to come along and be like, "You're not qualified to do that."
Yeah, yeah, all the time. There's again, because I talk kind of fast and loud as a white comedian. I go into a lot of places, and I'm on shows with, like, say, a bunch of other white guys that are all doing the Todd Barry-esque thing, and I'm like, fuck, man, I'm doing this wrong.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not even doing this right. How am I doing this? And when this is all just gonna shut down, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I have that thought, you know, probably more than I should. But yeah, man, that's another one of those things you just sort of have to. I don't know. I think that's just always there, and you have to just keep kind of pushing through it. You know.
Yeah. Well, tell me. So you started doing comedy here in Toronto?
No, I'm originally from Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Oh, right.
The far East Coast, and where I'm from, everybody sort of talks like me. Everybody's sort of like, you know. So I did a few shows there, and then moved to Toronto, and that's pretty much where I started, I guess. And then yeah, I lived in Toronto for 6 years, and then moved to New York.
That's crazy. Well, in terms of when you were first starting out and really like grinding through those gears, well, like, what would you tell yourself about, you know, like when jokes would fall flat and when you have like crummy nights? Did you have a good support system, or do you think that, you know?
The support system at that time, sure. I mean, a lot of the comedians, once you get to know a few people and you have like a circle to sort of run with, they're very cool because we were all sort of going through the same thing. Mm-hmm. But so yeah, I think it was them, and also, I don't know, I gave myself no other option but to do comedy. So I knew that it would be hard, and I knew there was nights I was going to bomb, which happened. I mean, that first year in Toronto, God, you know where the Rivoli is on Queen?
Yeah.
So the Rivoli, after a few years, I started to be like a regular dude there, and I loved it. The first show I ever did at the Riv, man, I'd probably been doing comedy 6 months. I was in Toronto about 5 months, and I went up and just full on super bomb. Nobody did nobody made a noise, nobody said anything. I came off, and the host came up to me and he goes, "Dude, that was awful." It's like, this joke was bad, this joke was bad. And I rode the train all the way back to Etobicoke, where I was living.
Wow.
And the whole way home, I was just like, man, I'm gonna do heroin. That was everything that happened in there was bad. But then I don't know. You just keep doing it. I just knew it'd be very hard, but I knew no matter how hard it was, there was nothing really else for me. I don't know. I feel that I'm supposed to. If I wasn't doing stand up, I'd be that guy at a call center who's telling jokes to people anyway. You know, I'm supposed to be doing this, so I just kind of pushed through that stuff. But yeah, man, it was rough for a while for sure.
So was it a with New York? Was it that you always knew that's where, you know, that was like the mecca of comedy, or was there also a point that you were like very comfortable in Toronto and like headlining and stuff, and you're like, okay, I got to step it up?
I always wanted, when I was like 16, I wanted to do stand-up since I was like 10. When I was 16, I remember thinking, I was like, I want to go to New York, but I can't just go to New York from Halifax, so I'll go to Toronto first, which is like New York Light, and then go to New York. So yeah, but I always knew that I wanted to come to New York, and the last year in Toronto, I mean, I could pretty much get up on every show. Everybody liked me. I figured, not like, you can't really ever figure Toronto out, I guess, but I was on all the shows, people liked me, I was making a bit of money, and I felt that if I didn't leave when I left, that I would get really, really comfortable and never leave at all. Because it's sort of one of those things too, is like once you have, say, a good job and you're making a bit of money, it's hard to just throw that away to go to the unknown again. So before I got too comfortable in Toronto, I went to New York, where it was pretty much a dead stop and had to start over. You know, so that I would be prepared to do that.
Mm-hmm. Well,
yeah.
How do you feel now in New York? I've been a couple of times. I've never been there to work, so pretty much it's just me just trying to soak up like everyone doing their thing. But do you like being surrounded with that energy of everyone trying to make it? Or
there's I don't know if everybody's trying to make it once you're here.
Right.
I mean, I guess people are, but New York was a lot harder to sort of it's a lot harder to sort of break into than Toronto is. Mm-hmm. There's a lot more stuff going on. I like it a lot. I honestly feel that New York is a nicer place than Toronto is. In terms of people will talk to you on the street. Toronto, I always felt that Toronto was trying to be like New York, but like a stereotypical New York from the 80s. You know, all those old movies where cab drivers were like pushing old women and people were throwing hot dogs at kids. I feel that Toronto saw that and was like, yeah, that's what we're going to do, not knowing that New York is actually a really nice place with a lot of nice people in it, you know?
Oh, yeah. I feel just from running like the subway around New York, I was traveling with a buddy, the first time we went, we had backpacks and just everyone talked. Everyone's like, are you hiking like in the middle of the city? Because we had these massive backpacks on. But just so cool. And that was like, for me, one of the coolest things about New York was actually riding the subway, as opposed to all the super expensive, stereotypical tourist attraction stuff that you can do, which I found was, you know, I don't think it ever lives up to anything wherever you go. But the people in New York and just the subways were crazy. But I know you tweet about all kinds of funny stuff in New York, which I always laugh at. Like people on the sidewalks and people in a rush and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, man, but I guess it is, I've lived down here for almost 3 years now, and it's not as busy as it seemed to me at one point in time. Now it just sort of seems this is the way that it is. Yeah. And it's not that people are too busy to talk to you, it's just that they're doing stuff. If you do want something, people will probably answer your question. But you do sort of have to make it quick. Yeah. You can't, you know what I mean? I don't know, you just do it. But, yeah, no, I really like living down here. I like the comedy scene. I think it's great, and yeah, I love the comedy scene in Toronto though as well. Yeah, man, I like living down here.
That's awesome. So, what are you up to at the moment? Is there stuff that you're doing, and is there stuff that you like want to do and take a chance on? Yeah, man, I'm trying to write a book. Yeah.
It's just a simple thing of like. People stop doing this, so it's like a whole it's like a, like it'll be a travel section and things that people should stop doing while they travel, dating thing, what you should stop doing in this field. I've been talking to True TV about trying to get a show together.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it'd be great. I found out yesterday I'm going back to Just for Laughs this year to do another TV taping, so I'm going to work on that. Say some things that people will think are funny for TV. So yeah, man, I don't know. I'm trying to do a couple things. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I won't keep you too much longer. I just want to get maybe your thoughts on just failure in general. Like, do you feel like you have a good relationship with failure and dealing with it, and you don't load, when things don't work out, you don't throw that all on yourself? Because a lot of people do that. It's like, that didn't work and that means I'm a bad person. It's like, no, there's lots of factors in that not working, and you're just one of them.
I think that's something that gets better over time. I used to say, like, live and die by every set. I'd go up and do well and go, oh man, I'm good at this. And then I'd go up and do bad and go, I'm the worst comedian that's ever been. But after a while, you start to realize that, yeah, man, some things are just not going to work out the way that you want them to. You're going to fail at everything that you, somewhere along the line, everywhere, you're going to fail on that process. And you just have to realize that that's a part of the whole end game. And you just, that's just what it is. You can't beat yourself up forever over it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And in terms of when you were starting out, is there something that you would say to yourself, when you first moved to Toronto, and you could, like, pull yourself aside after that first gig, and instead of saying, like, that joke sucked, what would you say? Would it be
probably say that the I tell myself that the host who told me that my joke sucked doesn't even do comedy anymore.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what that person said. I don't know, for a good portion of time, I was pretty decent to myself in terms of knowing that this was going to be a very tough thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. The only thing you can tell anybody that's doing this or anything creative, I guess, is just to keep doing it. The only thing you can do is keep doing it a lot. Mm-hmm. And eventually you'll get better at it. You're still going to fail on the way. Everything creative seems to be, the whole line is no, peppered in with some yeses.
Yeah.
As you go. But the no's are just what they are, and they, just to keep doing it, I guess, just to keep doing whatever it is that you're doing.
Totally. I think that the biggest, there's a massive couple of psych outs for me, even just doing this web series, and it's holding on, even when it takes you like 6 months for us to make it happen, and it's like, it's I don't know. I felt from straight away that you were happy to do it, and if I had got one sign that you were like kind of over this guy, like emailing me all the time, like I might have stopped because I don't want to be a dick, but at the same time I feel like there was a couple times where I was like, I'm not feeling it. It's very easy to give up on like these things when they're hard, but I don't know. It just makes it, when it works out, so much cooler, and to tell people like, oh, how did you get that? And it's like, well, it looks easy. It looks like it's just like, yeah, hey, you just sent him an email. Is that it? And it's like, yeah, but we kind of worked away at it for a long time to make the magic happen.
And that's even one of those small things that's like, there's a bunch of times I wasn't able to do it, but that never meant that I didn't want to, or that you were bothering me by any means. And I mean, that's almost a small thing for how this whole creative thing works. If you really want to get into something and people tell you no, it doesn't mean that you're the worst human being alive, or that they don't want anything to do with you. It's just like, either right now we don't have the time, or right now you're not ready for the thing that you want, but eventually you'll get in here. You know what I mean? It's just sort of how all that stuff works.
That's so cool. All right, man. I'll leave it there. I know you are a busy man, and I appreciate you taking the time. You're not in pajamas. You said you were in pajamas, but
I'm in a sweatshirt that has me and my brother on it.
That is awesome.
Wearing sweatpants. I am wearing sweatpants.
There you go. Well, me too. So it's all good. It's business from the waist up.
That's funny.
Cool. All right, Nate. Thank you so much. I'm gonna plug some stuff, and if you want me to link to any shows and stuff that you're doing, we'll work that out afterwards, and I'll throw it up on the website and see if I can't send some American friends along.
Okay, cool. Thanks so much.
Cool,
This is fun, man. Appreciate you talking to me.
Cheers, brother. Take it easy.
Later, man.
Bye bye.